The only nationalist party who has been left out of the new government and at this point will be part of a leftist-dominated opposition is the National Union, Likud Leumi. The Matot Arim Land of Israel organization decided to pressure the Likud leaders to bring the National Union into the coalition. Shalom to Susie Dim from Matot Arim.
Good afternoon.
So what's going on exactly? First of all, tell us about your letter to the Likud.
Yes. What's going on is bad news, and I think it's important for people to understand. Our organization suggested to our activists that they join the important initiative by a number of Likud grassroots people, important people, well-intentioned and solid people, who are approaching Netanyahu, Gideon Sa'ar, and the other heads of the negotiation team on behalf of getting the Likud Leumi into the government at present. I'd like to emphasize and stress the issue here is not a simple issue of there's a party which hasn't been done justice by. That truly is not the issue. The issue is that the Likud Leumi is the only party in Israel that puts at the top and pinnacle of its requests and goals the existential issues that are threatening Israel today, and the fact that this party is not in the coalition means that these existential dangers to Israel are not being dealt with by Netanyahu, by Gideon Sa'ar, by the Likud, and everyone in the government and all parties involved.
You know, Susie, a lot of people are saying this is not surprising. This is how Netanyahu has always been. But how do you explain what is going on?
It's very difficult, to have a small country, a Jewish country which is not always popular with the nations of the world, and to try and run it without getting decimated. It's very difficult, both practically speaking and psychologically. In fact, the only party which psychologically is able to withstand this tremendous and unending pressure is the Likud Leumi. And that is the reason. It's not surprising in the sense that most people are not cut out for this. We very much hope that Netanyahu, Gideon Sa'ar, and all the people around them will gird up their loins, shall I say, and understand that they are not doing a good enough job in safeguarding Israel. And they have to shape up immediately. Otherwise, there can be great dangers to the state of Israel.
Now, there are people in the Likud who are considered loyal to the land of Israel. In Sharon's time, they were called the rebels. Are they saying to our new prime minister, listen, Netanyahu, you need to bring in the National Union?
Look, these folks who are good, well-intentioned folks suffer from the same problem that you and I and everybody, other good, well-intentioned people. I'm not talking about that there are, of course, some corrupt Israelis, some corrupt people abroad, and some vicious people abroad, but we're not talking about them. The good people like you and I and all the listeners to this program have the same problem that the Likud good guys, quote-unquote, have, which is that we find it hard to wake up to this big threat. There are two big threats to Israel, and deal with it as much as it needs to be dealt with, which is a great deal. So our call to the MKs, and I have, of course, spoken to them, is that they must wake up and realize that this issue is important and urgent and deal with it now. The name of the issue, there are two issues, just to give the keywords or the buzzwords. The number one issue is Iran. The number two issue, which is really the same issue, is Palestinian state. The reason why that's a separate issue is because for some reason that issue is not recognized as being the same issue as the first issue. A Palestinian state means that there is I don't know how to say, an extension of Iran, a bike ride away from the Weizmann Institute of Science, from Tel Aviv, from Jerusalem, from all of Israel's big cities. And that problem is not recognized, and that is the reason why the Likud Leumi is not in the government, because that is one of their issues. That is the issue of the Likud Leumi.
But let me ask you this, could the National Union really sit with the Labor Party, which presided over the uprooting of settlements and the expulsion of Peace House in Hebron, for example?
That depends whether somebody like Gideon Sa'ar or all kinds of other people who can talk to Barak are willing to talk to him and explain to him that if there's a Palestinian state, the rockets are going to land on his kids and grandchildren's heads just the same as ours. I remind you that Rabin, who was the epitome of leadership of the Labor Party, was always opposed to Palestinian state, which is an existential danger to the state of Israel. Everybody knows that. In fact, Tzipi Livni herself has given many statements about how dangerous it is, and it's time for everybody to wake up on that issue. It has nothing to do with right or left. It has to do with one's emotional and psychological ability as a politician, as a citizen, as a community leader, which is a good time to appeal to listeners in the United States who should be just as responsible as us here, because the U.S.'s role in facilitating, God forbid or not, Palestinian state is crucial. In the States, again, everyone is in deep slumber. Time to wake up, everybody.
Okay, Susie Dim from Matot Arim, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.